1st. We begin the night at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific time. The pay-per-view undercard begins at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific time. It'll feature former world champion Omar Figueroa Jr. going head-to-head against Abel Ramos in a 12-round welterweight matchup in the co-main event. Also, sensational undefeated super welterweight standout, the towering inferno, Sebastian Fundora, who is making waves at 154. He will put his skills to the test against the hard-hitting and battle-tested Jorge El Demonio Cota in a 12-round matchup. To begin the pay-per-view at welterweight, it'll be rising welterweight sensation. He just turned 20 years of age, Jesus Ramos Jr., who incidentally happens to be the nephew of Abel Ramos. He'll match up against the U.S. Olympian Javier Intocable Molina in a 10-round matchup. Also, Fox PBC Fight Night will precede the pay-per-view with the card headline by WBA Super Welterweight Champion of the World, Erislandy, the American Dream Lara, as he will take on Thomas Lamana for the WBA Championship in the broadcast beginning at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific time. The event brought to you by TGB Promotions. Tickets are on sale and can be purchased at AXS.com. Dignity Health is going to open it up to a limited amount of fans following all local and state health guidelines. Now, when it comes to promoting big events, this man has been there, done that. He's one of the hardest working men in boxing. He is one of the most brilliant men that we've ever seen in the sport. Please welcome the president and my dear friend of TGB Promotions, the incomparable Mr. Tom Brown.
Gotta love Ray. It's great to hear you say also tickets on sale. I love that. So great to be back doing that. But I just want to say we have a lot of fighters to get to today. So I'm going to make this pretty quick. I'm really excited about this pay-per-view undercard. We have 3 great all-action toss-up fights. You know, there's been a lot of talk lately about top young welterweight prospects, with Jerome Ennis fighting this week against Sergey Lipinets. There just was Virgil Ortiz just coming off a big win recently. And I just want to tell you, keep your eye on this kid, Jesus Ramos. He's 20 years old, 15-0, 14 KOs. He's stepping up, opening the pay-per-view card, taking on his toughest opponent to date, a veteran 2008 U.S. Olympian, Javier Molina, in a 10-round welterweight bout. And then we move into another top young prospect with the 23-year-old Sebastian Fundora taking on another tough veteran in Jorge Cota in a 12-round super welterweight bout. And then the fight I'm personally really looking forward to is the semi-main event with Omar Figueroa Jr. taking on Abel Ramos in a 12-round welterweight bout. And again, I said this before, but I believe it's going to break out to be a Mexican-style Gotti-type word fight. So again, we have an outstanding card from top to bottom. I'll turn it back over to Ray here to get things started and introduce the fighters.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tom Brown of TGB Promotions, always working so tirelessly. And we get ready for our opening matchup on the pay 9 Pacific time, Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view. I'm really excited about this fight. We're going to talk with the man, 22 wins, 3 losses, 9 wins coming by way of knockout, 31 years of age from Norwalk, California, 2008 U.S. Olympian from a boxing family. Before the pandemic hit last year, he was on one of the last cards with full attendance. He fought on the pay-per-view undercard of Wilder Fury #2 in Las Vegas. Actually picked up a unanimous decision victory over Amir Imam before dropping a fight against Jose Pedraza in his last time out. Battle-tested, intelligent, certainly well accomplished. Please welcome Javier Molina. Javier.
What's up, Ray? How's it going?
Good, good, good. Can you just tell us how you're feeling heading into your matchup against Jesus Ramos Jr.?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. We've been working hard in the gym. We know we got a young, tough opponent in front of us, 15-0, 14 knockouts. So, I mean, we know it's not going to be an easy fight, but at this point in my career, I don't expect to get any easy fights. I had a tough loss in my last fight. It wasn't the best night for me, but I mean, when I got this call, I felt like this is the type of fights I need to get back to where I want to be.
Well, thank you very much, Javier. And now let's talk about the man who was going to be standing across the ring from you on Saturday, May 1st, as we begin the pay-per-view. 15-0, 14 knockouts, 20 years of age, from Casa Grande, Arizona, the young nephew of welterweight contender Abel Ramos. He scored 5 straight knockout victories, including Jesus Borroques in February. Young man, I've known him since he was 18 years of age, wiping out his opponents, fan-friendly style, doesn't like to allow guys to eat a few rounds with him. Please welcome Jesus Ramos Jr. Jesus.
Hello, Ray. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Can you just tell us how you're feeling?
I'm feeling ready. Like you said, this is the toughest tape to date for me. And Javier Molina, he's a great boxer. Growing up, I used to watch his movie a lot. Born and bred. So now for me to be fighting him, it's something crazy. But like they say, it happens, and I'm more than ready. I feel like I'm ready. On paper it seems like the toughest test to date, but I've been in the ring with world champions. I've been in the ring with guys like Terence Crawford, Maurice Hooker, Robert Brandt. So I've seen it all, and I feel like I'm ready. I feel like this is the right step up, and I can't wait for May 1st.
We are very excited for the matchup, and now we're going to turn it over to the media. If you have any questions to ask the fighters here with Jesus Ramos and also Javier, make sure to go ahead and raise your hand. So by all means, we want to thank the media that are on the call to join us. So we'll turn it over to the media, and also Andrew Roberts from Swanson Communications.
Thanks very much, Ray. As Ray mentioned, for all the media that are on, thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions for the fighters, please hit that raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start it off with Mike Rosenthal. If you could please, Mike, bear with me a second. Kelly, well, little technical difficulty here. Kelly, if you're on, could you please allow Mike to ask a question? At the moment, I'm having some difficulty with that.
Go ahead, Mike. You're good.
Okay, you can hear me, guys? Excuse me. Hey, thanks for taking the time. Question for each guy. Jesus, obviously you're not looking past Javier Molina, which would be a bad idea, obviously. But a lot of people are asking, this young guy is so hot. When is he going to get in with a top 5 guy, a top 2 or 3 contender? Do you have a timetable when you want to do that?
Yeah, like you said, I can't overlook my opponent for May 1st, but I think that's what I've been doing. I think I've been stepping up each fight. And Javier Molina.
We're good.
And Javier Molina, he's a big step up, and I feel like if everything goes right, May 1st, we're gonna continue to do that, stepping up little by little. I feel like I want to be a world champion at 21, so I feel like I'm on the correct path. I'm fighting the right guys. Like I said, Javier Molina, he's a big step up. So I think as long as I keep doing that and doing things right, eventually it'll come by the time I'm 21.
Okay, well, follow up. Obviously, you're getting all these knockouts. Do you even think about knockouts when you're fighting? Like, I want to knock this guy out, or you just go in there and just doing what it takes to win?
Yeah, correct. It just comes naturally. I just set my knockouts out. I set them up. I work. Each round. And if it comes, it comes. But if it doesn't, I'm always ready to go the full limit. And that's the way it's going to be May 1st as well.
Javier, you mentioned the last fight against Pedraza. You said you weren't at your best. You've had time to reflect on that. What do you think went wrong in that fight? Because you had so much momentum going into that fight, and it must be really disappointing.
Yeah, exactly. I think just the whole, since the beginning, I think I just was off, and I think I just let everything get to me. I wasn't patient. We know the stuff that happened, but it sucked. But I'm glad I'm getting another opportunity to get where I want to be. Like I said, I know we got a tough opponent with the Jesus Ramos, but I mean, we're training hard and we're getting ready, and we're gonna go out there and put on a show.
All right, excellent. Thanks very much, Mike. Our next questions are going to come from Carlos Toro. Carlos, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us, the media. First question for Jesus. Obviously you have been on this great run starting out in your career, but you've only fought once past the fourth round. You kind of view Javier Molina, who's on paper the biggest challenge of your career, as that type of fighter who can challenge and push you into some uncharted territory and allow you to show elements of your boxing skills that you perhaps may not have much of a chance to show off otherwise.
Yes, of course. I feel like he's that opponent. He's gonna bring the best out of me, and I hope for that fight. I hope for a fight that's gonna go past the fourth round. And hopefully I can show you what my true talent is. I feel like a lot of people classify me as just a knockout artist, but I've seen what I can do in the ring. I've seen what I can do in sparring, and hopefully, like I said, with this fight, I can demonstrate it in an actual fight.
Quick question for Javier. Javier, you fought you fought the last couple of years, between 140 and 142. Now this being a true welterweight fight, how much is that kind of getting to fight back at welterweight gonna help you as far as not having to cut all that weight? Do you feel like that's more of your natural weight, having fought at both of those weight classes in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I actually feel like eventually I was gonna go back up to 147. I had most of my fights at 147, and then my last, I think, 4 or 5 fights I had at 140. But I was obviously staying there because I felt like I was getting close to a title shot. I think with a win over Pedraza, I would have been there to fight for the title. So I was staying at 140, but I felt like eventually the move to 147 was inevitable. So, now that I got this opportunity, we're going to be fighting 147. And I feel great.
As far as the mentality that comes, coming off of a loss, like you've been able to bounce back from losses very, very well. Can you sort of walk us through the mental adjustments that you have to take, sort of have to readjust yourself, going back to the drawing board and sort of get back on that horse and go back and try to get back on a win streak?
Yeah, I've been in worse positions than I am now. I've been doing this my whole life. I said there was a time in my career where after I lost to Jermall James, I went like 2.5 years without fighting, and I couldn't even get a fight. So right now, I feel like I'm in a way better position than I was then. Like, unfortunately, I had a tough loss my last fight, but I stayed in the gym, kept working hard, and thanks to TGB, PBC, and everybody that gave me and my manager Sam gave me this opportunity to get back in there and be able to showcase my skills.
All right, excellent. Thanks very much for your questions, Carlos. Our next questions are going to come from Steven Carreño. Steven, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. First question is for Javier. Javier, Jesus said that he, kind of grew up watching you and you kind of smiled. What does it feel like to kind of, you're a relatively young guy yourself, but to have guys already kind of, the younger generation, I guess you could say, kind of coming after you at this point?
Yeah, no, man. I was like, man, and when he said it, I felt older for a little bit. Yeah, but no, it's cool, man. Like I said, I don't know Jesus personally, but man, I got nothing but respect for him. But obviously, when we're in the ring, it's a different story. But I've been seeing his fights. He's a good fighter. But yeah, I've been doing this since I was 7 years old, 31 now. So I've been doing this my whole life. But yeah, it's crazy, man.
And Jesus, question for you, man. Sparring those caliber guys like Terence Crawford and Hooker, how do you feel that's kind of prepared you for this next level in your career? And how did those sparring sessions go with Terence?
They were certainly a great experience. I feel like it gave me a boost of confidence in each of my fights. Because I've seen how the champions train. I've been in there with champions, and it's mainly that, the confidence. And sparring Crawford was a different level. It was something extremely crazy. you know, just to be in there. He's considered to be the pound for pound #1. So it was crazy, but it was real intense, you know, sparring Terence Crawford, and just learning from him. It was the best thing that's happened to me so far.
All right, great. Thank you, Steven. Our last questions for Jesus and Javier are going to come from John Cudney. John, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Oh, hey guys. Thanks for taking the time this afternoon.
Yeah, no problem.
So for Jesus, so from my perspective, this is a pretty substantial step up. So I'm just wondering how that has affected your preparation for the fight. Has this camp felt different? Did you do a different amount of sparring? If you can say anything about that, or, you know, have you just had, you know, high level camps all along and this is just the next fight?
Correct. We've had high level training camps. We always have high level training camps. I always prepare as if I'm getting ready for a world title fight. You know, I don't take anybody lightly, and that's the same case for Javier Molina. And I mean, a lot of people consider him my toughest test to date, but like I've said before, you know, I feel like I'm ready, and I feel like I'm ready because of those training camps, because I've been through those high level training camps, and this is just another fight.
Okay, thank you very much. And Javier.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, you know, as I said, I view you as, you know, as a pretty, you know, tough fight here. I mean, this is good matchmaking. So I just want to know for you, how, if you can talk about what a win here would mean for your career, and, you know, your motivation coming into the fight to pull off that win.
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, like I said, I've been doing this my whole life, and a win over Ramos just gets me to the next level, closer to a world title, which has been my goal to turn pro. I mean, I turned pro when I was 19 years old. So, I mean, obviously, I mean, we've been working real hard. The training's been going great right now. They gave us this opportunity, and I mean, we plan on taking full advantage of it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for both of you. I'm expecting a great fight.
Thank you.
All right. Before we go ahead and let you gentlemen go, if you guys want to say something as well, obviously we're going to be celebrating, you know, Cinco de Mayo on May 1st. This all Mexican extravaganza, Fox Sports, BBC pay-per-view. But can you guys say a few words in Spanish as well? We'll start with Javier first.
Gracias a toda la gente, de todos los latinos por el apoyo. No se pierdan la pelea, que se va a poner buena. Gracias.
Jesus.
Gracias a toda mi gente. Gracias por todo el apoyo hasta el momento. No se pierdan esta pelea contra Javier Molina, una pelea bastante interesante. Dos mexicanos, una pelea que va a ser muy interesante, ¿no? No se la pierdan. Va a haber mucha acción. Gracias.
Gracias. Thank you very much to both Jesus Ramos Jr. and Javier Molina. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now we transition to a matchup at 154 pounds. This man with the record of 30 wins.
Right, gotta have him hang up.
Oh, we're waiting for them to connect. But what I'll tell you is
the other two go.
Okay, so thank you very much to Jesus.
Thank you.
Javier. Thank you, guys.
Hold tight.
Thank you.
Got you. Well, hey, don't forget, while we go ahead and get ready for our next fight, it is a big night of boxing coming your way from Dignity Health Sports Park. Andy Ruiz Jr., Chris Arreola. Expect fireworks in that one. Limited tickets are available at AXS.com. It all comes your way from Dignity Health Sports Park in California, promoted by TGB Promotions. Again, AXS.com for ticket availability. Dignity Health will be open in a limited capacity following all local and state health guidelines. So we are very excited about this big night of boxing coming your way on Saturday, May 1st, an all-Mexican extravaganza featuring a stacked pay-per-view undercard. And preceding the pay-per-view will be live on FS1 at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific time. Erislandy Lara matching up against Thomas Lamana in that one. That's the headlining fight on that particular card. So, and now we are all set and ready to go as we get ready for a matchup at 154 pounds on Saturday, May 1st. This man, 30 wins, 27 of those coming by way of knockout against 4 losses. longtime contender, put himself back into world title contention when he defeated Thomas Lamana in January of 2020 in Philadelphia, bounced back with 2 straight wins after back-to-back losses to top super welterweights Jermall Charlo and Jason Rosario. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jorge Cota. Jorge.
Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes, ya. Aquí sentándonos a la conferencia.
Kelly, do you want me to translate that, or do we have a translator on the call?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
He said, hello, I want to send a very, good afternoon to everybody and very excited to be here. And the man that he's going to be fighting is literally and figuratively a tall task. As you go ahead and look at him, I believe he stands 6 feet, 6 inches tall, 16 wins, no losses, 1 draw, 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Just 23 years of age, fighting out of Coachella, California, continuing to make his rise up the super welterweight rankings. He blasted out Khabib Ahmed back in December on the undercard of Spence and Garcia down in Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium. Please welcome the towering inferno, Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian.
How you doing? How you guys doing? I'm excited to be on this card and excited to have just be part of the Cinco de Mayo legacy.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now I will turn it over to Andrew Roberts. If you have any questions, make sure to raise your hand. And also those of you who speak in Spanish, if you can ask your question in Spanish and then ask it in English as well. That way we get across both platforms. So turn it over to Andrew Roberts from Swanson Communications.
All right. Thanks very much, Ray. And as a reminder, for any media that have questions for Jorge and Sebastian, please hit that raise hand icon. We'll start off with Ernesto Amador. Ernesto, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you. Hola demonio, te saludo Ernesto Amador de No Pasar Boxeo. Sabemos que vas ante un peleador altísimo, complicado, que no ha perdido. Puede ser una de tus oportunidades, la más importante y quizá de las últimas para buscar algo, un título. ¿Qué significa esta pelea para ti?
Bueno, yo creo que pues no creo que la más importante, ¿no? Porque pues también tuvo la pelea con Rosario, la pelea con Charlotte, peleadores de mucho nivel, de mucha categoría. Pero claro, creo que en este momento es una pelea muy, muy importante para mí, para todo mi equipo, porque pues sabemos que es un muchacho que viene invicto y pues también quiere ganar, ¿no? Entonces, vamos por todas las.
Ernesto, do you want to translate what you said or what you asked? Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and translate that. They asked Jorge Cota, how he's feeling, sensing that this might be one of his final opportunities to be able to go ahead and compete at a very high level. This is a very big fight for him. And he said, look, he's fighting an undefeated fighter who's very tough and talented, but he's, brought his best. He's been training very hard and he's excited for May 1st.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Ernesto. And Ray. Our next question is going to come from Jake Donovan. Jake, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. My question is pretty much for both fighters. Sebastian, I'll start with you. You were actually supposed to fight Jorge back in December. Has training camp been any different for you for this fight, or did you just kind of pick up where you left off?
We just picked up where we left off. I started that Monday after that fight. We started running again. I didn't really take no time off. We were getting ready to go into our second camp for Jorge.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sebastian. And then same question for Jorge, pretty much.
What's your question again, Jake? Sorry about that.
So he basically trained. He was supposed to fight Sebastian back in December. Obviously he had to pull out of the fight for health reasons. If the training camp has basically been the same as when he was supposed to fight him a few months ago.
Jorge, tuviste una pelea contra Sebastian Fundora, pero la pelea no pasó. ¿Cómo estuviste en campamento para esta pelea contra Sebastian Fundora? ¿Era muy similar en preparación para Fundora?
Sí, de hecho, pues es un campamento muy similar al que tuvimos la vez pasada. Desafortunadamente, pues por lo del COVID no se dio la pelea. Creo que los dos nos quedamos con ganas de enfrentarnos. Estamos aquí en Tucson y estamos haciendo el mejor trabajo que podemos, ¿no? Creo que no hay mucho que moverle al campamento, a la preparación. Es algo muy similar a lo que hicimos la vez pasada.
He said nothing is much different compared to the preparation as we did prior to, when we were supposed to fight him in December. But obviously the fight didn't happen, due to COVID and everything else. But, him and I were supposed to fight in December. We both have, we both want to fight each other. Thankfully, the fight has been salvaged. But, we're here in Tucson getting in good work. And the camp is very similar to how it was before my fight was derailed against him in December.
All right, great. Thanks very much, Jake and Ray. Our next question is going to come from Mike Rosenthal. Mike, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Question for both guys. Jorge, you actually had the coronavirus. How bad was it, and how long until you were 100% again?
Jorge, tuviste COVID-19. ¿Cómo te sentías si era mal para ti teniendo COVID-19?
Bueno, la verdad no sentí ningún síntoma. Lo único que me dio fue un poco de tos seca. Lejos de eso, pues todo me sentía muy bien, la verdad. Creo que no pasó, no mayores, gracias a Dios.
He said, honestly, the only thing I had was a bit of a cough, but that was it. I mean, I didn't have many symptoms, and thankfully, I don't feel any ill effects from COVID-19.
Thank God, that's great. Question for Sebastian. With your height, Sebastian, everybody always wonders about the weight issue. You mentioned that you could actually make 47 if you wanted to. Is that true? And how is it even possible? Is it difficult for you to maintain weight?
I mean, if I wanted to, I'm pretty sure I could squeeze myself to 147, but I walk at my weight. It's not a problem for me. This camp was probably easier than the last camp, especially that the summer's coming in and the heat's coming in. So I just naturally walk at this weight. It's not a problem for me.
All right, great. Thanks, Mike. Our next question is going to come from John Cudney. John, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. John?
Sorry, yeah, having some problems with the app there. Okay, so first question for Jorge, if you can help me out, Ray. Jorge, Sebastian has, extremely unusual height and reach. Just wondering if you can talk about your preparation for the fight in terms of sparring or anything else, and if you have a confident game plan to deal with his, extraordinary height and reach.
Jorge, Sebastian Fundora es muy alto y tiene la ventaja con el alcance. ¿Cómo estás preparando para peleando contra Sebastian Fundora? ¿Y cómo era tu sparring?
Es muy alto, muy alto. Creo que pues es difícil encontrar un sparring con sus características, la verdad, pero creo que estamos en mismas circunstancias. Él también va a batallar para encontrar un sparring con mis características. Creo que la pelea, pues, no sería muy infantil decir que voy a tratar de boxear a Fundora. Es un hombre muy alto. Es un hombre muy alto que sabe manejar muy bien su distancia, y yo creo que no es un secreto que desde que suene la campana vamos a salir al toma y daca, ¿no? Desde el primer round.
I think there's no secret that when the bell rings, we're going to come after each other. And when it comes to Sebastian Fundora, yeah, he's really tall, and it's rather difficult to find sparring partners that have some of his characteristics. But, I'm very confident in what we've been able to do in camp in trying to find guys that have similar things that, the physical attributes that Sebastian Fundora has. So it's about finding guys that have, similar physical attributes compared to that of Fundora, but that's not easy.
Okay, thank you very much, Jorge. So a couple of questions here for Sebastian. So Jorge has been in with the very top of the division. You know, in recent years, fought Jermall Charlo and Jason Rosario. Just wondering if you can talk about, you know, if you're looking forward to this as an opportunity to compare yourself against the very best in the division.
Definitely. With every fight, we want to compare, and we're looking to get that shot at becoming a champion division. So with every fight, we want to present ourselves as on championship level.
Okay, thanks. And I just want to say also, as a final question, over the course of just speaking to you through the media over the last number of years, it's extremely audible in your voice, your level of confidence, how it's grown. I mean, to some extent, it seems like a boy has become a man. Just want to talk about your confidence level in the division and, you know, confidence as a fighter, how it's grown, and how soon you think you'll be able to take on the top of the division.
Yeah, it's nice that you mentioned that, because I like to think that too, that I've grown with more confidence in the interviews, and that if anything was hard in boxing, it was definitely this part of it. And yeah, I like to think that I've grown with that, and we'll just see what the future has for us with the competition we have. We don't really have a say in that, but whatever they put in front of us, we'll definitely take it on.
All right, thanks, John. Our next question is going to come from Jose Camarillo. Jose, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
¿Qué tal, demonio? ¿Qué tal, Sebastián? Esta pregunta es para el demonio. Si en su recorrido ha peleado con un rival que se parezca, no digo que es imposible que tenga la misma estatura, pero que le recuerde el estilo de Fundora por la gran ventaja que tiene en alcance y su estilo.
Sí, de hecho hace aproximadamente 2 años, creo que 2 años, peleé con un muchacho de ahí de Obregón, Sonora, que igual, zurdo y muy alto la verdad, que de hecho estábamos planeando contratarlo para que fuera mis sparrings, pero desafortunadamente las circunstancias no se dieron y pues no pudo, y ya pues nos tuvimos que venir para acá, para Tucson.
Y para esta pelea tú sabes que él va a salir, obviamente como tú dijiste, sería de niños pensar que lo vas a boxear, entonces tú tienes que arriesgar todo. Esta pelea va a ser explosiva y puede terminar pronto.
Sí, la verdad sí, creo que va a ser muy explosiva. Creo que la gente va a estar parada en la butaca, no van a estar sentados, porque creo que espero y los estilos tanto de él como el mío se adapten, porque pues vamos a salir al choque. Al menos yo voy a salir al choque, voy a salir al frente, y pues a buscar ganar.
Y esto nomás es para Sebastián. Yo escuché de que habló él al principio algo en español, y me parece que quizá me pueda entender, y si no, pues me dicen para cambiarlo para inglés. Sebastián, ¿estás consciente de lo que dijo hace un momento Cota? ¿Tú estás preparado también porque sabes que él va a salir a noquear en los primeros rounds?
Sebastian, do you understand Spanish or no?
Can I respond to it in English?
Yeah, you can respond to it in English. That's not a problem and stuff. But if you want to go ahead and translate what he asked you, and then I'll go back after you're done to talk about what Jorge said.
Can you translate for me?
¿Quiere la pregunta otra vez? ¿Que va a ser una guerra y está listo para la pelea? ¿Eso es la pregunta?
Exactamente, para noquear o ser noqueado. To get a KO or to get KO'd.
Okay, go ahead, Sebastian.
Yeah, I know that this fight, they say he has a lot of power. His record shows it. But we're prepared for everything. I'm ready for a war. We're ready for a boxing match. Anything that he brings, we're ready for it. But I'm more than sure to tell you that I'm ready to win too.
Okay, thank you very much, Sebastian. And then I'm going to go back and, respond to the question that he had asked Jorge. He asked Jorge if over the course of his career, if he's fought anybody that resembles the style of Sebastian Fundora. Jorge's response is, a couple of years ago, I fought a guy down in Sonora who was a southpaw and who was tall. So I did fight someone that was some similar physical attributes like Sebastian Fundora. Then they had a follow-up question about if Jorge is looking forward to fighting a toe-to-toe battle against Sebastian Fundora. Jorge's response, this is a fight that the fans at Dignity Health Sports Park are going to be on their feet. This fight could end at any one moment. It's no secret that we're going to come out and we're going to be throwing leather. I'm going to try to knock him out. He's going to try to knock me out. We'll see what happens on May 1st.
All right. Thanks, Ray. And thanks, Jose, for your questions. Our next question is going to come from Carlos Toro. Carlos, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thanks so much for taking time to talk to us. First question to Sebastian, then I'll move on to Jorge. Sebastian, you've been on this great run, knocking out Nathaniel Gallimore and Khabib Ahmed. You've spoken a little bit ago about the confidence that you're carrying now. As a boxer, do you feel like you're now finally hitting that stride where you're now, no longer fighting prospects and now elevated yourself into being a contender, to sort of view this fight against Jorge as that natural next step and sort of eventually looking to contend for a title?
Oh, definitely. I felt that right after I beat Gallimore. I felt the levels of competition changed to fighting prospects to fighting elite fighters. So with these last two fights, I felt that confidence really boost me up and push me higher in this division.
Jorge, I'll ask the question in English, then I'll ask it in Spanish. Jorge, when this fight was first announced, again, for May 1st, you said that in the official press release that you're kind of treating this fight like it's do or die for your career. And do you kind of view this as maybe that last chance to sort of impress on a big stage and remain in contention for a title? Is that the mentality that you are approaching this fight with? Jorge, cuando esta pelea se anunció para el 1 de mayo, tú dijiste en el anuncio oficial que tú estás tratando esta pelea como si fuese vida o muerte para tu carrera, y tú estás mirando a esta pelea como quizás esa última oportunidad para quedarte en contención para un título, y quizás eso sea la mentalidad que ya estás trayendo a las peleas.
Sí, así es. De hecho, ahorita hace un momento comenté algo, pero creo que se interpretó mal. Me dijeron que yo busqué el knockout en los primeros rounds. Jamás mencioné un knockout en los primeros rounds. Dije que saldría del primer round con todo. Creo que Fundora es un peleador fuerte, resistente. No creo que caiga con un solo golpe. Voy preparado para los 12 asaltos de guerra, y me preparo así porque mentalmente soy fuerte, soy fuerte físicamente, y creo que pudiera ser la última oportunidad que se me dé en estos niveles, ¿no? Entonces creo que voy a subir con todas las ganas de ganar, con todas las ganas de convencer.
I'm going to go into the ring with, my full intention, with my best preparation, and my, I want to go out and get this victory. I understand what this fight means to my career. I've prepared myself mentally and physically for a fight of this magnitude. I prepared myself and am constantly preparing myself to go the full 12 rounds. But at the same time, I realize that this fight could end at any one moment.
All right. Thanks very much, Carlos and Ray, for translating. Our next question is going to come from Kenyon Atchison. Kenyon, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Okay. My first question is for Jorge. You were coming off a knockout of Cornflake. How frustrating was it missing out on the fight originally with Sebastian in December? And how long before you went back into training after contracting COVID?
And Jorge, después de poniendo o agarrando el COVID, ¿cuánto tiempo regrese al gimnasio para ponerte en el gimnasio para el boxeo? ¿Qué era el tiempo para regresar?
30 días.
30
Después
days.
de que me 30 días más o menos.
Yeah, about a month is what happened. And then what was also your question again about if it was frustrating, you know, missing out on the opportunity to fight Sebastian Fundora? That was the question, right?
Correct.
Okay, ¿cómo te sentías ganando contra La Mana o Cornflake La Mana en enero, pero perdiendo la oportunidad para pelear contra Fundora en diciembre porque el COVID?
Bueno, pues muy mal la verdad, porque pues con La Mana, pues obviamente me sentí contento por haber ganado, obtenido un triunfo convincente. Y después que no pude pelear contra Fundora por lo del COVID, me sentí muy triste, la verdad, muy mal, porque tenía ya varias semanas aquí en Tucson, lejos de mi familia, lejos de mi hijo, lejos de mi tierra, trabajando duro, trabajando fuerte. Entonces sentí que todo mi trabajo se fue a la basura, no sirvió de nada, ¿no? Pero gracias a Dios ya pasamos esa etapa.
So I felt really good after defeating La Mana and, you know, having a convincing victory. And as I was preparing for Fundora in December, you know, I was putting in a lot of good work in Tucson. I was away from my family. I was away from, you know, my home country in Mexico, and we were getting good work in. And to be honest with you, yeah, it did make me sad that, you know, I had to pull out of the fight due to COVID, but thankfully the fight has been saved, and now I get that opportunity on May 1st.
All right. Thanks very much for your questions, Kenyon. All right, Ray, if we could please get the closing comments from Sebastian and Jorge, we're going to move on to Abel and Omar.
Okay, Jorge, últimas palabras para tu pelea contra Sebastian Fundora.
Bueno, pues que la gente se prepare porque va a ser una guerra. Yo siento que es una pelea que se puede robar la noche, porque Fundora es un boxeador que le gustan los golpes, le gusta fajarse, le gusta también tirar madrazos, como decimos en México, y a mí pues es lo que me encanta, me fascina. Creo que va a ser una gran pelea.
It's going to be a great fight. I'm very excited about this opportunity to fight Sebastian Fundora. You know, I'm excited. I'm raring to go, and I think it's a fight that could steal the night on May 1st. Very much thank you to Jorge Cota. Sebastian, final comments.
Yeah, like he said, this fight's gonna be a war. I expect him to bring fireworks like myself, and I hope the fans get a great live show, because boxing's live again in LA, and it's a great feeling, and I'll see you guys there.
All right, thank you very much, Sebastian Fundora, Jorge Cota. The matchup at 154 pounds. And now we get ready for the co-main event. The promoter of May 1st, Tom Brown, the president of TGB Promotions, cannot wait for this co-feature, a 12-round welterweight battle between Omar Figueroa Jr. and also Abel Ramos. Let's talk about this man, 29 years of age, from Casa Grande, Arizona, the uncle of rising welterweight star Jesus Ramos, veteran welterweight contender, most recently dropped a decision at the hands of WBA welterweight champion of the world, Yordenis Ugas. I've never seen this guy in a boring fight in my life. He comes in well prepared. He comes in great condition. He comes to fight, and he loves to advance forward. 26 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws, 20 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome Abel Ramos. Abel.
Hey everyone, thanks for the invitation. Thanks for being here. And I've been training hard and gonna be ready for May 1st.
All right, thank you very much, Abel Ramos. Now let's meet the man who will be colliding against Abel Ramos on May 1st on Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view. Former world champion Mexico by Joel Diaz, known for his action fights. Last fight lost in July of 2019 now WBA welterweight champion of the world, go to Dennis Ugas. Wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 19 wins coming by way of knockout. You see, he loves his Antonio and has some style, and no doubt he loves to just throw punches in boxing. Please welcome Omar Figueroa Jr. Omar.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
All right. And well, now we will open it up to questions from the media. And I got to say, this fight between Omar Figueroa Jr. and Abel Ramos is going to be a high-octane action fight. You do not want to miss it. I'll turn it over once again, Andrew Roberts of Swanson Communications, if you have any questions for the fight.
Thanks very much, Ray. As a reminder to the media on the call here, if you could please hit that raise hand icon if you have some questions. Our first question is going to come from Mike Rosenthal. Mike, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hey guys, I have a couple questions for Omar. It'll be almost 2 years since you were in the ring, and that was a pretty tough loss against Ugas. I think some people wondered whether we'd see you again. Was that ever a consideration, or was it just a matter of regrouping and getting back at it?
No, I mean, those thoughts crossed my mind, absolutely. I mean, when you're having to face the top guys in the sport and you're doing it injured, you know you're not 100%. I mean, the weight of it all just becomes unbearable at times. So I just needed to reset, you know, to regroup and give my body time to heal. I mean, leaving the sport obviously was an option. I didn't know if I could do it again, you know, bear that weight and with the injuries and all that, but that all seems to be behind me now.
Well, that leads me to my next question then. So you feel like you're 100%? Is everything healed?
I mean, I feel as close to 100% as I've ever felt. So I'm excited to see if my body holds out until then.
Fantastic. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Our next question is going to come from Ernesto Amador. Ernesto, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you. This question is for both of you guys. Esta pregunta es para ustedes dos. Ustedes piensan, do you think that you can steal the night? Ustedes piensan que se pueden robar la noche, porque si bien Andy Ruiz Jr. le está llamando mucho la atención, pero de verdad los expertos en boxeo saben lo que ustedes pueden dar. I mean, Andy Ruiz and Arreola is the biggest noise, but everybody knows that you can steal the night. ¿Me pueden contestar, por favor, los dos?
Adelante.
Adelante, Omar.
Bueno. No, pues sí, obviamente es algo de que para mí es lo máximo del boxeo. A mí me gusta salir al ring, demostrar que yo soy el que más puede. Así de simple. Y si mi oponente está dispuesto a bailar conmigo, entonces bailamos. Y si no, pues no. Así que yo estoy dispuesto a hacer la pelea que se tenga que hacer para ganar y para entretener a los fans.
Could you answer in English, please?
Yes. I'm definitely looking to make it an interesting fight. We don't get paid overtime, so if I can get it done in a round, trust me, I'm going to try. But it does depend on my opponent a lot, and a lot of the time they don't like to tango. So we'll just wait and see how interesting we make it in the ring that night.
Okay, Abel, please.
Sí, así es. Creo que los expertos del box tienen razón en pensar que nos podemos robar la noche por los estilos que los dos tenemos. Y somos mexicanos, guerreros, que siempre lo damos todo arriba del ring. Entonces esta pelea va a ser muy interesante y muy emocionante para el público.
¿Nos puedes decir en inglés ahora, por favor?
Yeah, that the boxing experts are right to think that we can steal the show because of our boxing styles. I think they're gonna mix very well that night of the fight, and the crowd they're gonna love this fight.
Well, thank you. Gracias a los dos.
Nada.
Gracias.
All right, thanks, Ernesto. As a reminder to the media, if you have any questions for Omar and Abel, please hit that raise hand icon to give the media a chance here to come into the queue. All right, our next question is going to come from Carlos Toro. Carlos, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you, Omar and Abel, for taking time to talk to us. First question to actually really the both of you. You know, both of you are coming off of losses to Yordenis Ugas, and Ugas currently holds the WBA super title at 147. Omar, you first, then Abel. Did both of you believe that a win on this platform on pay-per-view in the co-main event could potentially elevate your the winner into a potential rematch with Ugas down the line?
I'm going to answer the way that I should have answered these kinds of questions and just say that I'm focused on Abel Ramos. I know that he's no pushover. I don't care what happens after. I don't care what happens, whatever. All I'm focused on right now is Abel Ramos. I know he's no light task, and I'm not taking him lightly. So I know that I have my hands full with Abel, so I'm focusing 100% on him.
Abel, do you care to respond?
Yeah, the same for me. I mean, Omar Figueroa, he's a great fighter. He's a warrior. So, we can't look past that. But of course, we gotta take care of this fight first, and then whatever comes, it comes. But it will definitely place the winner in a very good position.
A quick question to Omar. You've been out of the ring for almost 2 calendar years. Obviously, there's always the worry about ring rust, but you mentioned getting a chance to rest up physically. From a mental standpoint, how much did that time off kind of allow you to sort of refresh and rest up from a mental standpoint, and allow you to sort of get an even bigger focus in for what's ahead?
Well, I think it's safe to say that these last couple of years have been pretty much rock bottom for me, and not just in the sense of boxing, but in everything. My life has been boxing. My life has been this sport ever since I was 34 years old. This has been my life. So, as a pro, I guess thinking about a loss hadn't crossed my mind until it actually happened. And dealing with it, it just changes everything, and it changed everything. I honestly, having that one on the loss column just gave me a different perspective in life and this sport, and I can honestly say that I'm much better because of it. And you'll see May 1st.
All right, thanks very much, Carlos.
I have some questions for the guys, Omar Figueroa Jr. and Abel Ramos. Guys, as you prepare for this fight, fans are going to be in attendance, limited fans, mind you, but this place that you're fighting at, Dignity Health Sports Park, it has been synonymous with big, exciting wars and just classics that we've seen inside the ring. Does the venue add a little more oomph to what you can expect against your opponent? I'll start off with Abel. Abel, if you want to answer that.
Yeah, of course. The venue, there's been a great wars there, and I think it's the styles that they match up in that arena or something that attracts those type of fights. But I'm just ready to do my job, and my job is to give the fans an exciting fight.
Omar?
Well, I've already given the fans great shows in that arena, so I'm looking to, like I said, it takes 2 to tango. So everybody knows that I'm willing and basically willing to give the fans that kind of fight if that's what it takes. Or, I'm willing to do that for as long as it lasts too. So I'm excited to get this show on the road on May 1st.
Turn it back over to Andrew Roberts. Questions from the media.
All right. Thanks, Ray. Our next question is going to come from Jake Donovan. Jake, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
All right, great. Thanks, Andrew. Most of my questions have been answered. Omar, I did want to ask you, though, you're coming back at a time, you actually didn't have to fight, without fans in attendance. What has been your view of boxing during the pandemic?
I haven't really been keeping up with boxing over the pandemic. The only one I really keep up with is my brother.
Gotcha. Okay, so let me ask you this. When you accepted the fight with Abel Ramos, did you already know that there was going to be fans in attendance? Did that even factor into the decision?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay, very cool. That's all I had. Thank you very much, and best of luck to both of you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jake. And at this time, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Ray, if you want to please check with Omar and Abel for closing comments, and we'll wrap it up.
Absolutely. This 12-round co-main event on May 1st, PBC Fox Sports pay-per-view. Andy Ruiz Jr. matching up against Chris ARREOLA. A big night of boxing coming your way. Final comments first. It'll come from Abel Ramos. Abel.
Final comments is just to all the fans, to all the boxing fans, and whoever's going to be in attendance. I appreciate the support, and it's going to be a great Mexican Warriors. It's a whole card filled with Mexican Warriors, and we're going to do our part to give you guys a great show.
Omar?
Well, I just want to start off by saying, first off, to my fans, the ones that have stuck by me through all the BS that I've put them through. You know, this isn't an easy sport, and I've been doing this for my whole life. So I just like to say thank you for being patient. To the networks, to the people that know that make this sport tick. Thank y'all for being patient. Thank y'all for giving me another opportunity. I promise you I will not let you down. And I'm excited to continue this new chapter in my career, and I think this is going to be the best one yet.
All right. Thank you very much to all the fighters for joining us here on today's press conference. This is a loaded night of boxing coming your way. Fox Sports PBC pay-per-view Saturday, May 1st, Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. Limited tickets are available, AXS.com.